just go to best.
Well, now that is not how I anticipated starting the show, Ben. What is up, everybody? Welcome to a call sponsored by MoneyBall Metrics. 1 second here. Yeah, apologize. I accidentally closed the browser the second that it said 1 second left on the clock, so that wasn't ideal. Ben, we're back. It's Monday. We have a beautiful slate of games. College football is already underway. How are you today?
Doing great. How could I possibly be upset with yesterday? Hit the max play. We hit some of our props from the sides from the show. It was a great day. It was a great day overall. Very good in the NFL. And, of course, the Vikings won, so it was a good day. Yeah, good all around. No complaints.
We like to hear that. But, Ben, you know we're going to go over how we did yesterday in the recap. I'm just asking how you're doing. I know you like to let that out a little bit early, but before we go into our recap, let's see what's going on in the comments. Nick Castrucci is here saying JD stood him up like a bad date. Nick, I get it. He would do the same to me, but don't worry. I agree with you here. I would not stand you up. Joe is here saying it's a good day to get paid. Joe, what's up, brother? J-Bo is here as well. Good morning. Monzy Man is here as well. We appreciate everybody tuning in. And Footy Chancellor, I had a feeling you would come in here talking about Penn State in some way or another. Didn't think it would be the volleyball win, but hey, welcome to the show. We appreciate you being here as well. Ben, let's go over the recap on how we did over the weekend. You kind of alluded to how you did yesterday, but how'd you do overall on the weekend?
Overall, 5-2 in NFL. Honestly, forgot what I went on in college football. It wasn't great because I took Tennessee. That sucked. Didn't bet that much college football. But yeah, 5-2 yesterday for me and hit the max. So pretty good weekend for me overall.
I mean, I guess that's a good way we could start talking about it because we do have a 4-game slate, but I think we have to talk a little bit about the college football playoff. Man, yeah. I was very happy about it. My biggest play in the college football season was the parlay of Penn State and Ohio State. So for me, I really enjoyed the college football playoff, but for other betting reasons, every single favorite covered.
It sucked.
Every single big favorite covered, so there weren't really too many competitive games. One thing I wanted to talk to you about, Ben, you'd think they got to reseed everything, right? I mean, Arizona State, Boise State should not have buys into the next round. I believe that they should play in the first round. It kind of reminds me of the March Madness tournament where we kind of want to see that 16-16 matchup to see who really gets into the field. Kind of should be similar to that. We shouldn't have to see some of the better programs have to be in the opening weekend. I mean, dude, does anybody really want to see Oregon versus Ohio State in the quarterfinal? Sounds like a great championship game, but for the quarterfinal, seems a little bit early for me. What do you think about that, Ben?
Well, yeah, it feels early, but also, like to your point, all the favorites, the 12-team playoff, I think they're going to have to mess around with this bracket a little bit because you brought up a good point. You have a 12-team playoff, and you have some of the best teams playing each other, and then you have Boise State with a freaking bye into the next round. Penn State could, at the end when it's all said and done, have the easiest path to the championship. I know we were talking about it before, but now it's kind of coming to fruition. SMU, they absolutely pound. Boise State, outside of Aston Genty, which Penn State has a pretty good run defense, I believe they should beat them. And then you're talking about either a Carson Beckless Georgia, which actually that might be a blessing in disguise, or Notre Dame.
I agree.
You know, I mean, like they got to face off against Indiana, but should they have been there to begin with? They weren't really that great. There was talks about their strength of schedule and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, Penn State looks to have a pretty easy path. And you got teams like up in the upper bracket, Texas, Ohio State, Oregon, all on the same side. Only one of those teams is going to come out and play a very weak bottom of the bracket. So it's a weird bracket. I don't know. Not the greatest way to present the first year of the 12-team playoff, in my opinion.
Could not agree more. We did want to talk about that briefly. And Ben, let's start getting into today's breakdown. Are you down? I'm taking it as you're down. There we go. Let's go. We're getting
ready to college football. It's Monday.
It's waiting for you there.
Monday is early.
Ben. Come on, Ben. First game we're breaking down is going to be NIU versus Fresno State. It is the college football kickoff today that kicks off at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. It is the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. NIU is coming into this game 7-5 on the year, taking on Fresno State, who is 6-6 on the year. Kind of a little bit of a letdown bowl game for a mid-Monday afternoon game, but it's still mid-Monday action. I'd rather have some football than no football on a mid-Monday action. Ben, what do you like in this game?
Of course, yeah. I don't really have a strong side in this one. I think I'm just not going to have a play in it. But if I did have to pick a side, I would go Fresno State because of their defense. And NIU, I just think with all their transfer portal. That's the thing about these bowl games nowadays. Transfer portal and of course, have opt-outs, but not necessarily for NIU so much because they're not that great of a team. But, with all the portal adjustments and Fresno State's defense, I actually like the fact that they're getting points. But I don't have a strong lean either way, so it's probably just a no play for me overall.
Sometimes the best play is no play, but I do have a play on this game. I do think NIU is the much better team here. We have seen a bunch of transfers as well from the other side with Fresno State. I do think NIU will be able to run the ball all over them. I know they were a better passing team in the regular season. They did have 1,600 passing yards in the year from Hampton, their starting quarterback, and their number one running back only had 4 touchdowns on the year. But on the other side, Fresno State really does struggle to stop the run. I do anticipate NIU to have a big game and give me NIU with the points here, minus the 3. They should be able to have no problem here. And great comment from Monzi Man here. Fresno State's offense is gone. A lot of guys are leaving. We are all over NIU. Monzi, I am with you, brother. We are all over NIU. It is an official play for my clients. I'm probably going to make it a free play as well, so I'm letting it out early. I'm all over NIU. Let's get it. Well, Ben, that was a quick way to get through the college football today because that's the only game that we are going to be going over in college football. But let's move on to the NBA. There's a couple NBA games that we want to touch on today. So let's get into the first one, which is going to be the Timberwolves taking on the Atlanta Hawks. The T-Wolves are coming in pretty disappointing this year so far. They're 14-13. They're 6-7 on the road. Going into Atlanta, taking on the Hawks, who are 14-15, 7-7 at home. Let's take a look at the injury report here. Guys who will be out for the Minnesota T-Wolves tonight will be Joe Ingles and Luka Garza. On the other side, we have a plethora of injuries for the Atlanta Hawks. Cody Zeller's out. Bogdan Bogdanovic and Trae Young are true game time decisions. And Onyeka Okongwu is going to be out for them as well. Ben, first NBA game we're breaking down in a little bit. What do you like in this one?
The Timberwolves are an enigma at this point in the season. It's so just disappointing as a Wolves fan, but from a betting perspective, I got to say it feels a little weird that the Timberwolves continue to still be lined like last year's Timberwolves when I look at it. Like on the road against a Hawks team that, yes, they're banged up a little bit. They've played pretty good at home, though. But the Timberwolves are still 3.5-point road favorites, and they've been extremely disappointing this year. Like this feels like a line that we would see last year with the actually very good Minnesota Timberwolves who still had Karl-Anthony Towns. I think they're still trying to mesh. I don't think it should take 27 games into the regular season to get Julius Randle and DiVincenzo meshed into the offense. We're still seeing issues with them. And, getting Rudy Gobert meshed in. It shouldn't take 27 games. I mean, when is it ever going to click, if at all? So I just think we're continuing to see these lines that feels like it would be a last year's Timberwolves lines, and people are expecting them to kind of figure it out. People are expecting this team to come around, and that's what the lines are reflecting, but they continue to just keep letting the betting market down. So if anything, I don't care if Trae Young's questionable. I think he's going to play, and I think the Hawks are going to cover as 3.5-point favorites at home. The Wolves have never shown me anything on the road this year that makes me think that they should be laying 4 points against, frankly, any team at this point, to be honest with you.
Man, I was hoping you were going to go the other way because I'm all over the T-Wolves on the spot. I'll let that out early. When you take a look at how these teams have performed this season, Atlanta is one of the worst covered teams in the NBA. I know Minnesota's not significantly better, but they're still better at covering than Atlanta. Atlanta's 11-18 against the spread this year, covering at a mere 37%. You guys know I like to look at how they do on average against the spread. So for Atlanta, they're minus 4 points per game. That means they're missing the cover by almost 4 per game. Decent margin there. And with all the guys banged up, I do think the T-Wolves are coming into this game much more healthy in a much better position. So I know Trae Young probably is going to play. He did go through shoot around this morning, so I do expect him to be able to go tonight. But at what percentage is he going to be there? I don't think he's going to be 100%. And they have a lot of guys that are injured. You guys also know that I do like to look at the ESPN BPI just to kind of get an idea of what they're predicting in this game. And they are giving Minnesota the 56% advantage, 244 for Atlanta. Atlanta, to me, is just not a great team. They have some big performances. But this team is coming in losers of 4 out of their last 5. They got blown out by Memphis. They lost to the Spurs in overtime. They got lost by 8 to the Bucks. Their only win was, of course, against the Knicks in the NBA in-season tournament, which, of course, I was at that game. So, of course, the only game they win recently is the one I had to attend for Trae Young rolling the dice on the home court of Madison Square Garden. But specifically in this game, I do think the T-Wolves will have a big performance. Give me the T-Wolves minus the 3.5. Definitely a best bet for me. Let's keep it moving right along, Ben, to the second NBA game we're covering today, which is going to be the Phoenix Suns taking on the Denver Nuggets. Suns are coming into this game 14-13. They are 5-7 on the road, taking on a Nuggets team that's 15-11, but they are 7-4 at home. Over to the injury report. Devin Booker and Grayson Allen are definitely going to be out yet again. Bol and Colin Gillespie are out as well. So 4 guys are definitely out for the Suns. On the other side, nobody really that important to the lineup. Vlatko Konchar is out, and that's really the main guy right now who's going to be out for them. Ben, a lot of rumors going on with this Nuggets team right now. Looks like they're heavily involved in the trade market. Looks like they are trying to move Michael Porter Jr. What do you like in this game? Do you think they will be able to make a big trade?
Yeah, as far as the trade market goes, I'm not sure about Michael Porter Jr. I really like him in the Nuggets. I like this current team. I know they didn't get necessarily the start of the season they wanted, but Jamal Murray was banged up for a while. Jokic was gone for a few games for personal reasons. I still think this is a team that can contend, and I just don't know if you want to mess it up at this point. We've seen this team contend the last few years. I'm not sure why they're looking for something different. I really like what I've seen from Porter this year. And as far as this game goes, I'm actually not taking them. I'm taking the Suns. But that's just because the Nuggets are on a back-to-back super hard-fought game last night that shouldn't have been super hard-fought against the Pelicans. Go to overtime. They do eke it out. But you got to think, just on the road coming back home. Overtime game playing late into the night on the East Coast. Now they're coming back home. I just think this is a very good spot for the Suns to kind of pick one up here, even without Booker. Getting 4.5 points in this spot as the better rested team who didn't go to a very late overtime game last night. So I'm taking the Suns just for that reason. The trade aspect, I think the Nuggets keep going with what they got, to be honest with you.
So my mic actually cut out there, so I do apologize. Which team are you on in this one? Because it's
Suns
absolutely, you're on the Suns in this one. Yep. Suns plus 4.5. There we go. Apologize for that. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties today, so I apologize, everyone. But I agree exactly with you do on the Suns in this game. I think there's something going on with this Nuggets team. I really do. I know the Suns, their last game was on the 21st. They lost 133-125 to the Pistons, and that's definitely a tough loss. Game before that, they lost to the Pacers. However, I definitely think there's something going on with this Nuggets team that's not really announced to the public. I think there's something internally going on. They just don't seem right. They're looking to make a couple moves for a reason. So I do think there is something going on. So give me the Suns here. It's not going to be a best bet for me. There's a lot of NBA games today, so make sure you guys are in the MoneyBall Metrics Discord. I'm going to be posting a few other NBA plays in there as well. I know Ben's going to have some plays too. But for this NBA game, no, I am going to be taking the Suns. But like I said, it's not going to be a best bet. It's not going to be my favorite play of the day. However, I do like it. And that's what we're going to be taking for this one. Let's keep it moving, Ben, because we're going to be spending a lot of time on this football game. The NFL game, to me, is the big game tonight, and there's a lot of kind of interesting notes to go on with this NFL game. So are you ready to dive into the NFL? Do not leave me hanging.
Absolutely. I won't leave you hanging.
There we go. He got a little late. He got it to me, though. He did get it to me. Let's go right to the NFL, Ben. Oop, that's the NBA one. Looks like we don't have an NFL transition today, so we're going right into the NFL. Saints taking on the Packers, and boy, this Saints team has no weapons on the offensive side. As I say all the time on this show, Ben, you guys know I like to look into the ESPN PI to see, just kind of get a gauge of what they're saying here. They're giving the Saints a 15% chance to win this game. Everybody on the offensive side is basically out for the Saints. On the other side, for the Packers, Javon Bullard, their safety, is out. True questionables and Jair Alexander, the best corner, and Evan Williams, another safety, and their linebacker, Quay Walker, is out as well. Ben, 14.5-point spread here. Crazy spread. What do you like in this game?
So this is actually very interesting because the Green Bay Packers are playing on Monday night. This coming Sunday, next week, they have a very, very, very massive game against the my own Vikings. I almost said Timberwolves. They have a very massive game against the Vikings at noon. They are now playing at a rest disadvantage already. They're on the road. It's right before Christmas. Guys, I think this is a sneaky spot to take the Saints. Not saying they're going to win in any form or fashion or anything. But I
You're
do
crazy.
think
You're crazy.
I think there's a chance the Packers are up like 21 in the second half. I think there's a chance they pull Jordan Love, see what Malik Willis has, because we saw him play well early in the season. Josh Jacobs, there's no reason, which plays into one of my props, there's no reason Josh Jacobs as your workhorse going into what looks like, you're already on track for the playoffs. You have a big game next week and in week 18. I don't think he's going to get workhorse action like we've seen from him sometimes this year. It just seems like one of those games that I'm not saying they're not going to be focused and they're not going to try and win the game, but I could see a path where they're up 21 in the second half and they're just kind of like, all right, we have a big game in 5 days. We already have the rest disadvantage. And the Saints, I get it. They have a lot of weapons out. But, we could see them score a little bit on what it's kind of a banged up Packers defense. They do have, 3-4 starters that probably aren't going to play in this game. So I think it's a sneaky spot to take the Saints. I do. Spread. Now, my favorite prop in this game kind of plays into what I was just talking about. Josh Jacobs, under 21.5 carries. He's only hit 22 carries in 4 games this entire season. And there is not a world I believe that they should be giving him more than 20 carries in a game like this. You're expected to win by 14. All the same situational stuff I just said. You're coming down to the end of the season. Why give him 25 carries and risk him getting hurt for the playoffs in what will probably be a meaningless game in the second half? So I love Jacobs under 21.5 carries, and I really don't hate Saints plus 14, to be honest with you.
So I wanted to talk to you about this game. It's going to be a non-conventional breakdown for me in this one because I'm not taking a side in this game. I'm also not taking a total. We all saw the injury report for the Saints today. There's just no way that I can possibly take any action on them. Also, there's just no way in the NFL am I going to bet a minus 14.5 on either side. So this one to me, I think is very difficult to find a good read or a good advantage on either the side or the total because, like I said, it's really going to be a very bare offense for the Saints team tonight. They're missing all their key playmakers on the outside. They're missing their quarterback. They're literally missing all of their skill players. And that's a huge issue in this game. That's why I'm targeting props in this game. So any other props that you like or any you want to talk about? One thing I saw in the comments here was Monzy Man who said Green Bay team total over 27.5. I looked at that. I wanted to see what the Green Bay team total was. I did think I wanted to take a team total play in here. I have 28.5. I wouldn't take it at 28.5. I would take it at 27.5. I know it's only a 1-point difference, but getting 4 touchdowns is 28. So to me, I don't like taking anything over 28. I do like taking over 27.5. What do you think about the team total of 27.5, Ben?
That's a tough one. I honestly don't know if I love it because I don't know. I think it's kind of right on the edge there, that hook. It's a world where I think you can get hooked.
That's why I'm afraid of it.
Yeah. I really don't love the team total, to be honest with you. If anything, I would actually lean the over because you got to think if the Packers do get there, and they are kind of not saying they're going to let off the brakes or anything, but, maybe start to think, all right, we got a big game in 5 days now. I think that, honestly, taking the over would be the better play there because the Saints, everything you said about their offense, true, yeah, sure. But banged up Packers defense, that kind of thing, and, big divisional game next week. I think I would like the over rather than the team total for the Packers.
There we go. What do you think about Christian Watson over 45 receiving yards? Joe is saying it's an early Christmas gift. What do you think?
I think I might like a Jaden Reed.
That scares me.
Yeah, Christian Watson. It doesn't feel like a big play game for the Packers. I think it's more of a Jaden Reed kind of dink and dunk game. I would play Jaden Reed reception. If you're going to take a receiving prop on the Packers side, I personally like the Jaden Reed receptions angle. But yeah, I don't know if I love Watson, to be honest with you. The
issue for me is I think that it is going to be a blowout, and I think that there is a chance for the backdoor, like you said. But I think in the second half, Jordan Love's shutting it down. I don't think they're going to be taking deep shots. They may throw it on third down, but I think they're going to have a very run-dominant game script in the second half because I do think they're going to be winning in this ball game. So that makes me a little hesitant to take any receiving props on Green Bay's side. It makes me more inclined to take props on the New Orleans receiving side, though, however, because I do think they will be down, and they will need to throw themselves back in the game. One prop I have on this game definitively. I have a touchdown prop that I absolutely love, and Ben, you kind of alluded to it as well. Jaden Reed. I think this is going to be a massive Jaden Reed game. And at plus 200, you can get his anytime touchdown. That's my only official play as of right now on this game. Like I said, there's not a lot of props that I love in this game. because I'm expecting a blowout. If there were any others I'm targeting, it's going to be on the New Orleans side. And Ben, let's pull up the touchdowns here on the New Orleans side. What do you think of? Okay, I'll let you go because there's one that's catching my eye, one of the receiving weapons from the Saints. I'll let you go though. What do you like on the Saints side of props?
Well, mine's actually another Green Bay side, and I really like actually messing around with Chris Brooks to get his first touchdown of the season, back up behind Josh Jacobs. He's plus 500. I honestly think there's a good chance Josh Jacobs doesn't play a majority. It's going to be an Ashton Genty game.
I like that.
I don't think he'll play much of the second half. You're talking about Chris Brooks, who will probably come in what will be an already pretty good lead for the Packers. And then he's going to get carries to kind of see, like, all right, what can this guy do for us? Doesn't have a touchdown yet. I think he's going to get the carries because we've already seen Wilson. Brooks has out-snapped him, actually, for a lot of the weeks since we saw Emmanuel Wilson early on in the season with Josh Jacobs was banged up. We've seen Chris Brooks a lot more now. He's gotten the opportunities for sure. And doesn't have a touchdown yet. So why not? Plus 500.
I like that. The guy I was looking at is also plus 500. That's Marquez Valdez-Scantling. We all know every now and again, this is the guy who can get behind the defense and be able to – and it was Rattler who has the pick. So we'll go over that next, Monzy. But I do think Marquez Valdez-Scantling is the guy on the Saints offense. If anyone's going to get behind the defense and maybe make one play, it's going to be him. Another guy I like on the Saints side who could potentially – score here. I was leaning Kendra Miller, but at plus 145, I just don't think there's a ton of value there. But Foster Moreau, plus 750. Foster Moreau could play a little bit of tight end, and at plus 750, I like that value. If this was somewhere in the plus 350, plus 400 range for a guy like Foster Moreau, I wouldn't love it. But at that price, a second half touchdown and maybe a backdoor, Moreau could be the guy to get it. So at plus 750, I don't hate that at all. Ben, one more prop we'll break down before we go into best bets. What do you think about the interception market, as you can see in the screen? Let me see if I can get the odds right here. Passing props. 1 second here. Spencer Rattler. Oh, bro, you can't take that. It's minus 220.
I was going to say, it's probably super juiced, isn't it?
It's minus 220, and we do know that Green Bay does a great job at creating turnovers, so I do think it's going to happen. However, it's not something that you could play straight. Maybe if you're building one of those SGPs, you want to stick that in there. Absolutely, because, but that's kind of.
Well, I was just gonna say, I definitely think he's gonna be going for some big plays. All the weapons are gone. You got to think you don't have your main route runners. There's gonna be a miscommunication at some point with one of the young guys. Rattler already. I know he hasn't had a pick in 3 of his games now, but his first game he had 2 picks. Like you said, Green Bay turnover forcing team. They have a very good defense, pretty good secondary. So I think that Rattler's gonna kind of just let him go tonight. Their season's already over. He's kind of just given the reins to just kind of see what he's got. I think he's going to go for some big plays. I think he will throw an interception. It's just, at minus 220, you can't play that straight. Maybe a same
100%.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, we have a couple comments of a couple of these juiced up plays. So Jabo is saying Jordan Love over 1.5 touchdown passes. Good timing to put that in there because right before you said that, Footy Chancellor put the odds in there. It is minus 155. So who knows? You can maybe do a Rattler interception parlayed with Jordan Love over 1.5. You'll definitely get a little bit of plus money on that. That's not a fun one to play, though. Sprinkle in some touchdowns. Like, have some fun with it because that's going to be the most boring parlay to ever watch if you're on that. But it could hit. It definitely could hit. Going to be honest, not my favorite play, but it definitely has a chance.
I was actually going to say.
My ghost is here.
I don't know how much.
I don't either, but yeah, I mean, this is a game. It's a tough Monday night game. How is this the Monday night game? How did they not flex any other options for this game? I know Green Bay is a good team and people like to watch them, but it's the Saints. Like, we couldn't get any better game for, the second or third to last Monday night football game of the year.
I think they were thinking that the Saints were going to be in a much better position than they are now. And to be fair, if they stayed healthy this year, maybe they would have been. Kamara's a monster. Unfortunately, the injury to Carr. But, I mean, I don't know. It would have been a fun game, I think, had they been healthier.
No, definitely if that would have been at least better. But, Ben, that's going to do it for the breakdown of the show. But as you know, we still have best bets. We still have the current holiday promotion. So let me dive into the holiday hot streak from MoneyBall Metrics. $20 for a month of MoneyBall Metrics access. Guys, this is the best promo I've seen in a while. JD is on an absolute heater in college football. I believe he's on a 15-4 or 14-4 run. Make sure you guys get in the MoneyBall Metrics Discord. There's free winners. There's the VIP in there, and it's the best community out there. Come join us, have some fun, and come win with us in the MoneyBall Metrics Discord. Ben, there's one last thing we have left on this show. And you already know what that is. We're going to get into our best bets of Monday, December 23rd. Ben, kick us off. Do you have one? Do you have two? Do you have four? How many do you have for the people?
I have two for you guys. Suns plus 4.5 in the NBA. Alpha kind of alluded to it. I think there might be something going on with the Nuggets. It looks a little off. I still don't know about trading Porter. Obviously, there's something going on behind the scenes. Trade him. But I like the current makeup. It's just something's a little off right now. And they have a really tough spot here coming off that back-to-back. Last night playing in overtime. On the road, coming back home. They had to travel. Love the Suns plus 4.5. Second one is the prop I already alluded to. Josh Jacobs under 21.5 carries. I love this spot. I think there's a good chance he has 12 to 13 carries in the first half, and it looks like he's going to be on pace to go over. But at that point in the game, I think he sees less than 8 in the second half for sure. Just given the game plan and how everything's going to go. I don't think there's a world where Green Bay is down after halftime. And we might look like an idiot for saying that, but just how everything looks like it's panning out, I don't see how Josh Jacobs gets more than 21.5 carries when you have a short week going into next week, going into the playoffs. Why give him more than that? Like, you don't need to make him a workhorse in this game. You just don't. So I love that.
Agreed.
That's easily my favorite play tonight.
There we go. I love it. I'll get into mine next. My favorite play of the night is going to be Jordan Reed anytime touchdown plus 200. My second and final best bet of the day is going to be those T-Wolves on the spread minus 3.5. Get your phones out. Get everything out. I'm going to put them on the screen. You can see mine and Ben's best bets. By the way, shout out to Mrs. JD. Shout out the producer of this show for the great graphics, winter season theme. I love it. Makes everything more festive. We appreciate that. You guys can see the best bets again. I am on the Timberwolves minus 3.5 and Jaden Reed anytime touchdown. Ben is on Suns plus 4.5 and Josh Jacobs and the under 21.5 carries. Ben, that's going to do it for today's show. It was a quick one. We got one more play to give you guys because he's been hot. Check out Footy Chancellor. You guys know I wouldn't tell you that if I haven't been telling him and winning. He's been hot. Get on the train. Benfica first half team total over 1.5 plus 125. I'll be tailing. Ben, it's been another great show, brother. Give the people some words of wisdom before we get the hell out of here.
My words of wisdom is Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope you guys have a great Christmas spent with your family or whatever you're doing on the holiday. And happy holidays to everyone who doesn't celebrate Christmas. Yep. That's it.
I won't be seeing you guys until after Christmas myself and the holidays, so I will be back on Thursday. Christmas is also my mother's birthday, so it's a big one for her. It's a nice milestone birthday, so I'm taking her out for the day. So I have the day off. There's no show tomorrow, but I do believe JD and the missus will be doing a Christmas special, so make sure you guys are tuned in for that. There will be a Christmas special on
JD
Christmas
will
Day.
be dressed up as Santa Claus.
Oh, I hope so. Oh, I hope so. I will be in the comments for that show, so I will be watching. But yet again, happy holidays, everyone. We appreciate every single one of you who's always with us. Genuinely, we appreciate you guys for making us be able to do the show. We love all of our viewers. We appreciate y'all. Ben, I hope you have a Merry Christmas. I'm not sure I'm going to see you until after as well. And everyone out there, we'll see you. We'll be back, and we appreciate every single one of you.